asshole.
You're kidding. Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get down.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 116 of the Rotten Reviews podcast. I literally just looked that up and I've already forgotten. I am so smart. But yeah, I am right. We're 116. I just checked back quickly. I know. I'm great. Thank you for joining. I appreciate all the responses I've been getting, all the feedback and whatnot. Maybe we'll start Patreon at some point. I'm not really too sure yet. I don't know what I would do for it. I just want to keep on giving free content, to be honest with you guys. So maybe we'll set up like a donation tab or something. I don't know. But we'll wait and see. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not worried about the money side of things at all. I just appreciate everyone coming back and being supportive and enjoying the podcast. And I know this intro sucks, but, you know, I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep right now due to someone deciding to pull the fire alarm in my apartment building last night, and I could not get back to sleep for the love of God. I actually didn't go to sleep before the alarm went off. It went off, I think, 11:30, and then they were here for like an hour, and nobody knows what went on. It's fun, but anyways, it is what it is. We got a fun episode set up for tonight. I'm actually recording this on the previous Monday. We are watching No Man's Land from 1987. I decided to watch this movie on Tubi. At the point in time of watching this, it says it's going to be leaving in 10 days, but I'm not really too sure if it will be or not, because Tubi's really weird like that. They'll say something's leaving, but then it never actually leaves. So this movie has a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.5 out of 5 on Amazon. The initial release date was October 23rd, 1987. The director is Peter Werner. He's done a bunch of TV movies. He's done a couple episodes of Justified, Blue Blood, Grimm. I really like that show, Grimm. Maybe we'll do some mini episodes about that because, you know, it's got like the monsters and whatnot in it. He's done a bunch of episodes of Law and Order as well, I believe, which is also kind of funny because I believe the main writer on this was actually Dick Wolf, who's, you know, of course, known for all the Law and Order, FBI, a bunch of other cop-related TV shows. Chicago PD, apparently, he's been on that for like 100 and some episodes. Chicago Med. He's done a bunch of stuff, and if you don't know what he is or who he is, you should definitely look it up. He's an interesting writer, and I appreciate the content he makes. And it's also a very unique cast, because you got Charlie Sheen, you also got Randy Quaid, you have Bill Duke from Predator, best known, I think. Personally, that's where I know him from, is Predator. He's also in Commando as well, I guess. And apparently he was in X-Men Last Stand. I have to revisit that. My memory on the X-Men movies is not that great. But yeah, we also have D.B. Sweeney, who's also the main actor in this alongside Charlie Sheen, and I think there's some other well-known ones that kind of just pop up. But it's an interesting cast. It's an interesting movie. It kind of plays out like Gone in 60 Seconds meets like a GTA video game storyline. Essentially, just the rundown of the movie. Rookie cop goes undercover, infiltrates a car thief ring, and all the cars being stolen are all Porsche. I don't know why there's so many Porsches in this town or city, but whatever, it works, I guess. It's a crime, drama, and thriller. But it's distributed by Orion Pictures with a box office of 2.9 million. So it's not a lot, but it's still pretty good. You know, in my opinion, I guess it all depends on how much it costs to make. So.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures.
Charlie Sheen. He's stepping out, looking things over.
trying a new line of work. Charlie Sheen is Ted Varick, crossing the line into no man's land.
Don't you think we're pushing our luck? No such thing.
No limits.
This ain't exactly repo work. This ain't exactly work, period.
No boundaries.
What about this one? Not too shabby, huh? I only steal Porsches.
There's a local outfit stealing Porsches. My money's on the owner, Ted Varick.
Why me?
Because you don't act like a cop.
Good turn, Bill.
Welcome to no man's land.
Take a look around, Bill. America's finest, the play.
Well, I guess what's important here is that you're having a good time.
So good, 'cause I got you.
I want Varick. Concentrate on Varick. Rich boys like you turn my stomach.
I don't even know who you are. I never even knew your name.
I need you to watch my back. Can't do this anymore. I feel dirty.
Nowhere to turn.
These guys ever give up? I do this for a living.
No place to hide.
Ted. He's a cop.
Tell me something I don't know.
Coming full speed from Orion Pictures.
Showtime, folks.
No man's land.
But yeah, we'll get right into the movie. I gotta love that, like I said, it's Ryan Pictures release, so seeing that logo pop up on the screen is really nice. I really appreciate that a lot. Then the music starts to come into play, and we see the reflection of the city in this car window, and a guy comes up and breaks the glass. It's a part of the car thief ring, and then we see a Porsche driving off, and the intro credits start to roll in as the music's playing, and we see the Porsche making its way into a garage, and we can quickly tell that it's a chop shop and that they're going to get ready to cut this car up, sell the pieces off, and make God knows how much money. Then we see shots of this police station as detectives are looking over like the secret photos that they've been taking. Like, what's the technical term for that? They've essentially been watching people in this group and been taking photos of them, trying to get evidence and whatnot of who may be stealing the cars and who may be in the car thief ring. Then as one of the detectives is getting ready to go in his car to drive away, so we can see in the reflection of his driver window someone come up and he kind of smiles at it, and they pull a gun out and shoot him point blank right in the face. Then we see a guy working on a car where maybe it's a stepfather, maybe it's an uncle, I'm not really too sure, comes over saying his mom wants him inside to cut the turkey, and this is Benji, also known as Bill throughout the movie, which I thought was weird. When typing my notes up, I did Benji with an I, but apparently in the script it's Benjy, which looks kind of weird to me, but we'll go with it. And then we find out this movie takes place between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I don't know if you want to watch it as a Thanksgiving movie or a Christmas movie, because there is Christmas music in it, so therefore it should qualify as a Christmas movie. There's no snow though, so that just gives you a point of view of where, or point of reference where this movie takes place. Anyways, Benji gets washed up and gets all ready. He's hanging out with a bunch of the family members, and then we find out, I think one of the uncles is making fun of him because, they don't think they think he could do something better with his life than being a cop, essentially. It's like, you could be making lots of money if you come, stop playing cops and robbers. He's like, it's a job. Just shut up, uncle. Then we see Benji in uniform with another police officer showing up at this pool hall for some drinks. We find out they're late because Benji saw a lady getting beaten up and he wanted to stop the car to go help her. That's when one of the other cops is like, you're off duty, just call a police officer next time. He's like, I am a police officer. Then Randy Quaid, I'm gonna just call him Randy Quaid because that's his name. I don't feel like calling him Lieutenant Vincent Bricey, whatever it might be, is coming into this bar because he wants to talk to Benji, because apparently Benji has a very big knowledge of foreign cars, and he knows Benji is the right person to try and infiltrate this garage that they believe is part of the car thief ring, because this garage apparently just works on Porsches and nothing else, and that's the main car that's being stolen. So yeah, you're probably right that it's probably the place that's running the whole car thief ring. It's the place that only works on the goddamn cars. At this point, we find out Benji is also a rookie, and that the cop that got shot earlier in the movie is actually one of Quaid's friends. Benji agrees to do it, and Quaid gives him this weird smile as he pretty much knows. He's like, yeah, you got a good chance of dying, boy. You got a real good chance of dying. I'm not going to be surprised if you die. And then we cut to Benji showing up at the garage, and they believe it's the car, part of the car thief ring, and he's sitting inside his car, and he's just rehearsing the line, looking in his mirror. He's like, I am now Bill. I am now Bill. I am now Bill. I am Bill. Bill is my name. Thank God it's a name that starts with a B, which is the same letter that starts with my original name, but I am now Bill, not Benji. Anyways, you then see Bill meeting up with the snitch, because apparently Quaid already has a snitch inside the garage as well, and that's how he's getting Bill, or Benji, into the garage is through the snitch by saying he's like a good friend and he knows how to fix pretty much any cars. And I believe it's Duke's character, Malcolm. He's like the manager of the garage, and he's like running him through some questions like, oh, how long would this take? It's like, oh, well, probably 8 hours, but I probably have it done in 5 or 6. And then he looks at another car. He's like, it's going to take 2 seconds for me to fix it. And then Malcolm's like, all right, we'll give you the job for a couple weeks and we'll see how everything works out. If you don't work out properly, then you're pretty much getting canned, and I don't care, and I don't ever want to see you ever again. Then we cut to Bill being walked into what looks to be like this old motel room. It's actually supposed to be an apartment, and this old lady's showing him the place, and she's going on about how she doesn't like cops or loud noises. I also didn't know what was going on here because it literally does look like a motel. But yeah, this is his new home because he doesn't want to go back to his old home, or maybe he's in such a different area. I'm not too sure. Or it's probably just to build up the character of him just being like this mechanic thug who, has nobody and no possessions and whatnot. Then we see Malcolm pretty much sending Bill out on this like GTA style pickup mission because he's got to go pick up Ted, the owner of the garage, because his car apparently broke down. And we see him showing up to this car that's broken down on the side of the road. It's like nighttime now. It's up on this like windy road up on the hill. He's looking around at the car and nobody's around at all. So he turns on his flashlight to look in the car to check it out, and that's when Ted, Charlie Sheen's character, comes up behind him. He's like, you car thief? He's like, no, Malcolm sent me. I'm just here to fix the car and, get it on the road again. Bill asks him, like, you do know what's wrong with the car? And Ted's like, well, if I did, technically wouldn't be here because then I would fix it myself. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. He fixes his car within seconds, pretty much, and asks to take the car out for a test ride just to make sure everything's okay and make sure he's got the engine running right and everything, whatnot. So then Bill and Ted start driving around. They're speeding down this curved roadside. Ted keeps telling Bill to push the car faster and faster, and Ted is having the time of his life, just, being like this is a giant thrill ride for him. Then it's the next day, and we see Bill and another mechanic going to get a bite to eat, and that's when they bug Danny, the mechanic who's a snitch. He's like, well, you too good to eat with us? And Danny's like, well, yeah, I gotta be careful who I hang out with. I don't want to hang out with some grease balls. And then Danny's walking away, and he walks across the street, and this car pulls out in front of him, and 2 guys jump out and grab him, and then they put his head in like the window of the car, and then the guy inside the car starts racing the window to try and choke him with the glass. And we come to find out that's the competition. Well, we'll find out in a few minutes that it's a competition. I just spoiled it. Sorry. I essentially thought it was like some fancy drug dealer that he probably owed money to, but it's not. We then cut to Danny in the washroom trying to get a hold of himself, trying to, calm himself down, because the guy's pretty much like, if you're going to fuck around, I'm just going to kill you. Essentially is what he's doing. And then Bill comes in to figure out who they were, and Danny makes some jokes about it, so Bill throws him up against the wall, wondering who they are. And that's when Danny's like, well, they're the competition, and pretty much telling us, to stay away from their spot and to not mess up and steal their cars. Then we see Ted showing up in the garage, and Bill is putting a new alarm in a car. Ted also invites Bill out to this club that he goes out to all the time, apparently with his buddies. He tells him to show up at 1:30, and Bill's like, AM? Are you serious? You want me to show up at AM? He's like, yeah, that's when all the cool people go. That's fine. Then we cut to this club that's really weird. It's definitely a Mile High City club. Very fancy, white everything. There's nothing else that's not white. And yeah, it's very bright and doesn't seem like a club that people would go to hang out at 1 o'clock in the morning. But what the hell do I know? I don't know. I'm a dad who stays home all day. Not all day. I go to work and stuff. And then I come home. And I work some more for myself doing this. Or YouTube videos. Make sure to check it out, the YouTube videos. They'll be linked down below. And the artwork as well, because that'll be linked down below as well. But back to our movie, because that's what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about my movie, my podcast. You know what? We're just tongue-tied. That's all we are. We're a lack of sleep, a little bit tired, but we're going to get back to the movie at hand. Ted says, welcome to Bill, and they look around, and he's like, look around, it's the lifestyle of the rich and aimless, because nobody has any plans to do anything but some drugs in the washroom. Then Ted's sister, Ann, shows up, and I forgot to mention earlier that Ann was actually in the garage at one point, and Bill was making like googly eyes at her, because he's like, ooh, hot girl. Even though she's not really that pretty to me, but that's besides the point. We find out that she's the sister of Ted, of course. And Bill's like, oh. Then Ted has to step away to talk to someone and leaves Bill and his sister at the table with a bunch of other rich and fancy people. And then the guy's like, you know what? Pardon me, we just got to step away. And then one of the girls is like, you used to always be the girls that went away to powder their nose. Now it's the guys doing all the drugs. They always get all the fun, right? And Bill's still trying to make like awkward conversations. He's like, yeah, I come here all the time. This is the main hangout for all the mechanics. one of the guys before leaving, he's like, oh, you're a mechanic, huh? I'm just going to go snort crack off toilet seat in the washroom now. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're a lower lifestyle than me. I don't want to do this. Then we see Bill meeting up on the street with Quaid, and Quaid's like, don't ever be late on me again. He's like, I'm only 10 minutes. He's like, if you're 10 minutes late, I'm starting to question if you're getting in too deep, if you're injured or whatnot. I'm a worried mother. You're my little chick. Don't ever be late on me ever. And at this point, Bill mentions that the competition, and Quaid's like, no, that's not what we're here for. We're here for Ted, because Ted's the main issue, and Ted's doing all the stealing. And Bill's like, no, I don't think Ted's really doing it. But, shocker, later on. Quaid tells him to concentrate on Ted, because that's the main lead that they have. And then we cut back to the garage, and Ted mentions to Bill if he wants to make some extra cash because he has some repo jobs that need to be done. And Bill jokes, oh, so you're a car thief as well. It's like, no, it's just repos, like, don't worry about it. It's not car thief, it's just repossessions. Are you coming or not? Then we see Ted and Bill in the car checking out the car they need to repo as the valets are getting ready to park it. But Bill is very hesitant about going to do the job, so Ted's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And Bill's like, no, I got it. It's fine. At this point in time, Ted also mentions that they have the keys for the car as well, which should make it a little bit easier, but it doesn't. We see Bill walking up to the car in the parking lot, getting ready to repo it, and he's got the keys in his hand, but he keeps fumbling the keys and can't get the door unlocked. And then one of the valets starts yelling down at him, and then Bill starts to run and take off on foot. He's not in the car because he goes to unlock it, and then the valet's like, what the hell are you guys, what are you doing? And he just runs off, and all these valets start chasing after him, and then he's running for a while, and then Ted picks him up on the road somewhere down the way. I don't know where exactly or how far they went. And Bill's all annoyed and mad at himself because he didn't get the car. But then he starts to laugh. He's like, let's go back and get the car right now. I want to get the car. I really want to get the car. Can we go get the car now, please? And now it's nighttime. We see Bill and Ted both showing up at Ted's home, both with two different Porsches, meaning that they did steal the car off camera. Then two of them start to have a drink, and then Anna, Ted's sister, shows up randomly. I thought maybe they're living together, but apparently she's visiting from school, and she was supposed to be down visiting the parents and staying with them. But apparently the parents are off in Paris or somewhere, and they don't really know or care by the sounds of it. Then we see Bill and Quaid in the car going on about what happened the night before, and then Quaid tells Bill to stay in the lines and not go native on him. I believe is the technical word that he said, because he feels like Bill's enjoying the car thief role too much, and that he's going to go rogue essentially on him. Then we see Bill hanging out with Ted, or Ted's sister I should say, Anna, and then we see them looking at like this basketball tennis court, and they decide to play horse because that was Bill's idea, but Bill's going to start regretting it because Anna actually elbows him in the face and busts open his nose, and he's just bleeding all over the place. And then Anna starts questioning like Bill, like, how long have you known my brother for? How did you guys meet? Why are you hanging out with him? Because he's bad news. I don't like any of his friends because they're usually crackheads or other kind of type of people. Why are you so nice, and why are you hanging out with my brother essentially? Then we cut to the snitch outside of the garage, and this guy in the van shows up, and they take him in to see Malcolm, and then Malcolm calls in Bill as well. And then we cut to the Bill and the van guy driving down the road, music blasting, heavy metal music, rocking out, and Bill's like, you listen to this crap? And anyways, they go into this parking garage, and then like the valet that's watching the entrance calls in these other guys because he's like, oh, they're gonna steal stuff, I guess, because he's a long-haired hippie in a van. I don't know the reasoning, but it is what it is. They're looking around the garage to see if they can find a Porsche to steal. They find two Porsches, but Bill doesn't like either one of them. And then there's also, this is where the first Christmas music is playing in the background. Bill finally finds the car he wants to steal, and he drops his tool up first to get into the car. And he's looking around like, you guys didn't see nothing. I didn't drop anything. I don't know what you're talking about. But then the van guy gets a little scared because he sees like security guards walking down the aisleway, and then he literally gets, just runs right off because he's like, peace, I'm out of here. As Bill finally gets into the car, he's trying to pop it so he can hotwire it, and then the guards show up and just rip him out of the car and put him under arrest essentially, and I think they handcuff him maybe, and they walk off, and then one of the competition guys come up and slashes Bill in the hand and tells them pretty much keep their hands off their cars because this is their territory and they don't want to have any competition in their territory. Then we see Bill in a holding cell, and then Quaid finally shows up to bail him out, and he's like, it took you long enough. He's like, well, I wasn't too worried about getting you out. You learned your lesson. And then Quaid makes Bill make the call to Ted to tell him what happened in the situation, and Ted is on the phone saying how sorry he is and how the guy's so sorry, and Bill is pretty much yelling at him and getting pissed off, and then hangs up the phone saying he's done. And then he looks over at Quaid, he's like, shit, I just quit did I just screw up the thing that we're doing right now that we've been spending weeks on because I just quit? And Quay's like, nah, man, you gave me chills up my spine. He's gonna come for you now because he wants you back. I didn't know this was some kind of love relationship because that's how he made it sound. And then it's like the next morning, and Bill spent the night with Ted's sister Ann, and Ted's coming in, and Ann's making breakfast, and he's like, oh yeah, nice, thank you. I'm gonna sit down and eat this, even though she's probably making it for Bill. And then Bill comes in, he's like, and Ted looks back, he's like, oh, nice robe. You spent the night, huh? That's good. And then Ted's looking over, he's like staring, he's like making the jokes. Hey, I want to be Uncle Ted. You guys look cute. You can have 3.5 kids, this and that. And at one point, Ted's also like, oh, did you sleep well last night? And it makes Bill a little bit awkward. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go over here because you got a fork and a knife in your hand, so I don't want to get stabbed. And then Ted mentions how he wants to do a Christmas party with everyone because he hates Christmas in the family home for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe because they just didn't have a loving family. Then we see Ted and Bill talking outside, and Ted is saying how he's sorry about the guy that they set him up with, and he's now going to have a new partner, and Ted's actually going to be the one going out on the jobs with him. And then we cut to seeing Ted at work as he steals all his cars with shopping bags in hand, because he claims if you have a shopping bag in hand and you set it down, you can be at a car for hours and no one will question it because they'll just think you're playing around looking for your keys to get in because you've been spending all your time shopping and you can't find your keys. Ted unlocks the car and gets ready to hotwire it, and they start to drive away while going through the guy's cassette collection and being like, oh, this is trash, throwing it out the window as they're driving down. And then the car phone goes off, and Ted's like, answer, it's probably for you. And Bill picks it up, and is like, yeah, Rick's not here. And the person on the phone's like, well, who are you? He's like, I'm the person stealing Rick's car. And then hangs up on him. Like, yeah, you're a badass. You're definitely a badass. We see Bill and Ted in a mall shopping some more, I guess, as the two other guys from the competition are kind of like following them and stalking them and trying to chase after them. And then we see Ted and Bill looking at a Porsche in the garage, and Bill thinks they are pushing their luck, and then Ted says, yeah, never, we're not pushing our luck, I've stole 7 of these in one day, it's not that big of a deal. And as they are leaving, they see another car to steal, and Ted's like, you know what, we're gonna take this one too, so just stop here. And then I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck is there so many Porsches in this town or city? Why are they parked in the same garage as well, or so close to like another Porsche? Is it just a thing? I don't know. But this other Porsche that they find is a soft top, so Ted decides, he's just like, I'm just gonna cut part of the top of it, reach my hand in and unlock it. But then as he does that, the 2 competition guys actually show up out of the doorway from the stairs, and they start shooting him, and then Ted jumps in the car with Bill, and then this chase scene begins. They're racing to get out of the garage as 3 other cars are chasing them down now. Somehow there's like this car accident with a big blue bus that kind of goes flying and pretty much lands on the National Lampoon's Vacation station wagon, literally crushing it and probably killing every single person inside, which hopefully it wasn't a family, but it probably was. Casualties of war, I guess. Then Bill drives the car into like this open factory, like metal factory, and he hides the car in like this dark area because there's like a fog kind of rolling through, and there's only one car left chasing them at this point, and it drives by them slowly. So at this point, Ted's chewing a lot of gum because he's nervous. He's starting to panic and going on about how he met this nice blonde girl and she's great and this and that. And then as soon as the other car drives by, they floor it out of the area, and then the chase scene begins again because the other car just turns around like nothing. They start smashing each other down the road, and then this Pepsi transport kind of gets like jackknifed, and next thing you know, the chase car is going through the trailer on the Pepsi truck. And I think at this point Ted just looks back and Bill's like, what happened? And Ted's like, nothing, don't worry about it, just keep driving. It's now nighttime as they show up to the chop shop where Malcolm is, as they're cutting down all the other stolen Porsches, just pretty much cutting everything off of them. Ted mentions how they have connections at junkyards and even the DMV to get leads on the cars and to get the keys and whatnot. Then later we see Ted giving Bill the keys to this new shiny red Porsche, and Bill's all happy, feeling like one of the family members at this point in time. Then we see Bill driving his car around town, getting people's attention. He parks his car at his spot. He gets scared because he gets ready to walk up to his apartment, and Anne's already there. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, where'd you get the car? He's like, oh, it's just the customer's car. I'm just, using it for the night. It's no big deal. He's like, well, why are you dressed like my brother? Oh, you don't like it? She's like, no. And he starts taking off the suit vest and everything. They go inside his place, and then she's looking all around confused at his place, like, did I make the wrong decision here falling in love with you? This place looks like trash. And Bill starts talking to her, and then he goes straight to him. unbuttoning her dress, and you can just imagine what happens next. The next day, it's raining, and we see Ted showing up at the garage. Goes inside, and it's all quiet, and he's very confused. He's calling for Malcolm. He goes in the washroom. He's like, I got you a cookie, big man. And he looks at him, and he's dead on the toilet. He's been murdered. Then we see Ted talking to Quaid about what's happening. He's like, I called you guys. And Quaid's like, no, when your mechanics called us because they saw you dragging his body out of the washroom. He's like, what are you trying to hide? He's like, I'm not trying to hide anything. I was just trying to give him some decent, burial. Do something with him so he's not naked, half naked on the toilet. And then Quaid goes on apparently how he doesn't like rich boys, and he pretty much wants to slap him around a bit. He's like, you know what, you're gonna go to jail and they're just gonna make you their bitch. Then they call Bill in for questioning, and Bill's pissed off at Quaid because of how he's talking to him. And Quaid's still acting like he's, undercover and nobody else knows, even though there's other police officers around. And then we see Bill sitting down at a diner, and then Quaid shows up at the diner and pretty much tells him never to blow his cover ever again. Doesn't matter if there's cops around or not. Don't ever do it again because he's going to kick his ass. Then Quaid tells Bill to go take a few days off because he's worried Bill is too much in on Ted's side, and that he's going to take Ted's side no matter what happens, even though he knows Ted's in the wrong. We then cut to, I think, Bill sitting outside his family's house inside the Porsche, just watching as the kids are playing. I believe it's his house. I didn't really look up too much at this point in time. I was still trying to catch up on my notes. But he's either outside of his family's home or he's outside of Quaid's home as he's playing with his kids, because he's got 2 kids as well. And then at this point we see Ted loading this small little gun that probably hides in your sock. And Bill shows up to his home, and Ted asks him for a favor and then hands him a handgun. He's like, I just want you to watch my back tonight. That's all I want. I'm just going to go talk to the guys and nothing else is going to happen. I just want you to watch my back. Bill tells him that the situation is stupid, and then Ted says it's not stupid and it needs to be done. We also find out at this point in time it's also Christmas Eve. Then we cut to Ted and Bill in this like smoky underground looking club. They're looking for the competition guy. I forget his name. It wasn't too important. And then they cut to another club, and then we cut to this Aztec style Mexican club that goes underground essentially. And Ted's like, I don't see him anywhere. How about you go down to the bar, which is farther down, and take a look? This was just a distraction for Ted because he wanted Bill away, because he actually sees the guy on the dance floor, and he goes over to him and he's like, this is for Malcolm, and literally shoots him right in the stomach. And the guy's like, huh? This is for Malcolm. Bang. Then we cut to Ted and Bill making it into the family home, and it's their big Christmas party, and everyone's having fun. Then Ted gives his sister like this pearl white necklace as an early Christmas present, and she mentions that someone called for Ted and left a message on the answer machine. So then Ted goes away, steps into his little area to read the listen to the message, and then call the officer back, because he's calling him on a payphone. It's actually another lieutenant who's actually a dirty cop, and he's mentioning how Bill is an undercover cop and that there's also another snitch in the garage. And Ted's like, are you sure about this? And he's like, I've never been wrong. You know that. So you should believe me about Bill. He's a cop. Then we cut and see Ted and Bill driving down the road, and Ted makes Bill open an envelope full of money. And he's like mentioning how it's a goodwill gesture to a cop that he's going to buy him off because he's a dirty cop and he doesn't want to have any issues from this cop. It's still nighttime during all this, and they pull up to this old like train station, and Bill asks to be left at the drop because he wants to keep an eye out for the undercover, because he wants to know what they look like, to know who they're buying off. Bill heads into the old building, and he goes to where the money drop is, and we see him slowly coming around like this train car as Ted is still in the Porsche, slowly driving, following. We see Bill finally walk around that train car, and then the lieutenant pushes him up against the train car and starts searching him. He's like, you got a wire? Are you a snitch? Are you gonna screw me over too in this? And then he tells him pretty much get down on his knees, and Bill's pleading for his life because he pretty much feels like he's going to be shot to death right here at this train station area. And then he shows him money and takes the bag of money, and then the lieutenant tells him to get face down on the ground because he's getting ready to shoot him right in the back of the head. And that's when Ted floors it in the Porsche, turns on the headlight, kind of, blind the lieutenant quickly, and literally runs him over, saving Bill's life. Then in the car right back, Ted says all the cops are dirty, and once they cross the line, there's no turning back. And he's like, it's not like us, because we're family, we have each other's back, because that's just how we are. And Bill's kind of like, oh shit, maybe I am getting in here too deep. And then Ted wants to take Bill back to that old shopping mall that they were at before. He's like, let's go the day after Christmas because everyone's going to be there, returning shit that they don't want, and it's going to be a prime opportunity to steal some more cars, and it'll help him up, it'll cheer him up, it'll make him feel a little bit better about himself, because he almost got killed 2 seconds ago. Then we see Bill showing up to Quaid's home late at night. He's going on about how the lieutenant was going to kill him and that Ted saved his life, and then Quaid said that he's bullshitting him because Ted's just trying to, sucker him up essentially. And then Bill starts to question if Quaid was working with the lieutenant as well. And then Quaid's like, you know what? You get out of my house. I'm not dealing with this. We'll talk tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Get the hell out. Because it's in the middle of the night and he wakes up Quaid's wife and 2 kids as well at the same time. Then as Bill is leaving Quaid's home, we see Ted has been parked on the other side of the road this entire time watching from his car, which I guess he was just tailing him the whole way and we just don't see him showing up. But it looks like the way he's parked that he's been there for a while, but oh well. Then Bill has Anna meet up with him in a bar. He breaks the news to her essentially, but not really. He's like, whatever happens, I just want you to believe me. And then they kiss, and then the next thing you know, we're making up the next morning. They clearly spent the night together, and Bill's, I'm gonna head out, get some food to make you breakfast. You just stay in bed and I'll be right back. And when he gets back to his apartment, we see Anna dressing at the table, and then this guy comes around the corner, and it's apparently his uncle, and he's been calling Bill Benji the whole time, and that's really, throwing a wrench into the whole situation between him and Anna, because the uncle then leaves, and she's like, you're a cop, aren't you? And he's like, well, I might have lied about a few things, but I didn't lie about my feelings towards you, so I do love you. Do you want to be nice to me and not kill me, or tell your brother that I'm a cop? Because that won't be good either. Bill then sits down to call Quaid, and then he finds out the news. Next thing we know, we cut to him showing up Quaid's house, and we find the crime scene because Quaid is now found dead inside his car, and we see the wife and the 2 kids being escorted out of the house into a police car as they're just looking at Bill, and Bill's looking at them. He's like, oh shit, I got your husband and your father killed. Oh yeah, I'm too far on the bad side of this. Ah shit. Then we cut and see Ted making some flight plans with a gun in his hand. He's like, yeah, I'll pay as soon as I get to the terminal. We'll get the hell out of here. Thank you for setting everything up for me. And then the doorbell goes off. He takes the gun over to the door as well and looks at the people. He's like, oh, it's just my sister. And she starts questioning him, like, where he's going. He's like, oh, I'm just going away for work. When are you leaving? Right now, actually. I'm leaving right this minute. I'm just looking for the last thing. I lost my car keys. And then he starts searching around the house for his keys, and Anna keeps asking him if he's going to see Bill tonight, and then the phone rings, and it's Bill on the other line saying, are we still working tonight? Like, are we still going through with the plan? And Ted's like, oh yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of you all day. Yeah, sure, we'll definitely do it. And they hang up, and Anna's like, oh, so you're going to go see Bill? And he's like, yeah, he's going to drive me to the airport. That's what he's going to do. He's like, do you see where my car keys are? And she holds him up, and then he leaves, and as he's leaving, Anna's like, he's a cop. And he just looks at her, and he's like, pretty much smiling, like, I know. We then see Ted inside the mall, and then Bill shows up, and they decide to pretty much, they're going to go steal the cars, and Ted's like, you want to do the shopping bag? And Bill's like, fuck the shopping bags. Ted's like, fuck the shopping bags. They go right to get to the garage. They're going to take the elevator, and Ted's like, you know what? Let's take a walk up the stairs. We can use the exercise. It's fine. It's Christmas or Boxing Day. I don't know at this point in time. I think it's supposed to be Boxing Day. And they walk up to the top of the garage. The whole time, they're walking up the stairs. They're having like this awkward conversation. Like, how's your day? And Ted's like, it's been really weird to be honest with you, but it's fine. Bill tells Ted that he can't do this forever because he's going to get caught and put into jail eventually to serve pretty much the rest of his life in jail. And Ted's like, no, I won't. Don't worry about me. And then Ted's like to Bill, he's like, well, don't you trust me, Benji? And that's when Bill finally knows that, oh shit, I'm definitely caught, because now he knows my real name. And then Ted goes on about how they were friends and that he trusted Bill and he thought of him as family. He was fine with him being with his sister, and he thought they were getting close and they had a bond together and that they were doing everything together. And Bill says, well, I can't bust you. And Ted's like, you know what? I'm going to walk away from this. I'm just going to leave. If you want to bust me or stop me, feel free to shoot me in the back. And then he just starts walking away, and Bill pretty much tells him stop, and he doesn't. Kind of just smirks at him. And then the two of them start shooting at each other. I think Ted actually shoots Bill in the shoulder, but Bill then shoots him in the stomach, in the chest, and he gets him in the cheek. And not in the butt cheek. He gets him in the cheek and the face, which looks like it would be really, really painful. Getting shot in general would be painful, but getting shot in the cheek right there looks like it would be really, really painful. Bill walks over to Ted's body as he's staring down at him, and you can clearly tell he's dead. And then we hear sirens already coming in the background. So I'm not sure if they're there because they heard the gunshots 2 seconds ago, or if they're coming because someone's robbing the mall. Who knows at this point in time? But then the movie just freezes on Bill's face as the sirens keep playing in the background, and then the end credits start to roll. This is a fun movie. I like Charlie Sheen in his earlier movies. I think it's really good. I'm a big Grand Theft Auto fan, like video game fan, and this movie feels like it would be in that atmosphere. Pretty much feels like kind of like a side missions in it, that kind of game. I think it's pretty pretty nicely written. I like Dick Wolf. I think is a really good writer, and it's a very good crime movie. Not a lot of blood or guts or like anything graphic along those lines, but a solid movie nonetheless. I would definitely highly recommend it. You know, like I said, it starts at Thanksgiving and it ends at Christmas. So if you want to make it a Thanksgiving movie or a Christmas movie, you can go ahead and do both. But like I said, there is Christmas music, there is tinsel and some other Christmas related stuff. I think there's a couple Christmas trees later on at the Christmas party, but they're all white trees, which is goddamn hideous to me, but that's besides the point. On the rotten scale though, I would give it a 7 out of 10 because I think it's a good movie, and I'll watch it again at some point. And if I find it on VHS or DVD, I'll definitely purchase it because I just think it'd be a fun movie to have in my collection. But like as I said at the beginning of this, I did watch it on Tubi. It might still be there at the time of this recording whenever you guys listen to this, or it might be long gone for all I know, because like I said, it is in the leaving now or leaving soon section, but like I said earlier, some of the stuff in that leaving soon section never seems to leave. But yeah, now we have to pick what we're going to watch next week, which is going to be the start of our Christmas related movies. Some of them are going to be horror, some of them just going to be straight comedy, maybe action, who knows. We don't have them all planned out yet, but the first one we're going to do is going to go back to the horror side of things, and we're going to watch the Jack Frost horror movie. I forget the year of it. But yeah, it's the one with the serial killer that comes back as a snowman. What more could you want? It's going to be fun. It's also on Tubi, so if you guys want to watch that, and apparently there's like a second one on there as well. There's also a Riff Tracks one as well. I'm not going to be watching that one at all. But the second one apparently takes place in the Caribbean, which I think is really weird because he's a snowman. But we're not going to question anything because it's a killer snowman, so why would we ever question it? But that's what we're going to be watching next week is the Jack Frost, the first one. Not the Michael Keaton one. Maybe we might do that later on in the month. Maybe we'll make it a mini episode. I don't know. I don't want to make it a full episode, I don't think. But yeah, until next time, I will talk to you guys all later. Thank you again for everything. Thank you for all the comments, the shares, and whatnot. Make sure to, if you're listening to this on like an Apple Podcast or Spotify, leave a rating and a review because Spotify has the star ratings as well. You just gotta go up to the name, and underneath it should be like a little star and tell you what. You can rate it whatever you want, 5 stars, 1 star. I don't care. Whatever you feel like it should be rated. You can get a hold of me at rottenviewspodcast@gmail.com. The links will be all down below as well if you want to suggest any movies and whatnot. And feel free to check me out on all social medias at Typhonstein. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm not too active on a lot of them, but I've been pretty active on the YouTube. I've been posting videos, a couple videos every week, just in the short section, but we are also building up our catalog for full-length videos that are going to be released later on. I just want to build up a little bit of catalogs. That way I can do like 2 full videos a week or whatever. That way I'm not rushing to edit everything in 1 week because that gets a little bit stressful after a while. And as always, the outro music is by Blood Opera. I'm not sure if their fundraiser is going to be in the description down below, but you can find it in the last week's episode. If that is all still running, I'm not sure how long Gofund Me accounts run for or fundraisers run for, but thank you for everyone who's been donating to that. I really do appreciate that. You guys are doing a lot of good to help out the family, and yeah, make sure to check out all their stuff: SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And I will talk to you guys all later. Peace.
I am a whisper in a classroom, the writing on the wall. What's blood for, if not for the shedding?
The one where we chant his name. was there for